I think so many of us, if not all of us, know at least one person, or maybe we ourselves listening, is considered a DIY person, do it yourself. Are you a DIY person when it comes to fitness? What is DIY fitness, Jaclyn, you ask? Well, DIY fitness is what I call it when we Google our workouts, we search it up on YouTube, and maybe we thumb through Pinterest, right, to look up what looks promising depending on the model's physique, or maybe what kind of workout we want to do today. Do we want to do cardio? Do we want to do a HIIT workout? Which, by the way, those models' physiques, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it always looks perfect. Or should I say perfectly shot with just the perfect lighting to hide any flaws, combined with the perfect color clothing, ladies, and shot at the right angles to hide imperfections and blemishes. Okay, that's beside the point. But back to DIY fitness. We live in a time when we can tap our phone screens for how to do just about anything, right? Insert the blank. And this includes DIYing our workouts. I don't know. Does this sound like you? I know it's something that I've personally done over many years, specifically as a person starting out in fitness. And I wanted to share with you in this episode what I have learned about the times that I did commit to a DIY fitness plan, and what are the advantages, what are the benefits, what are the drawbacks, and talk about these things so you can decide for yourself that if you are doing a DIY fitness plan, to figure out, okay, does it work for me or does it not work for me, and what should I do from there? And if it's not working for you, then what are some ideas, or what are some thoughts or things that I can do to step it up or to take the next step? And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. As a Christian female in the fitness industry, I've seen so many women frustrated as they search for transformation through diets and exercise alone. And what I realized is that God's Word, the most important part of this life for a Christian, seems to be the portion that's always missing from what we're being taught about being fit and healthy. Courageous Fit Female is a podcast for women who love Jesus and want to get fit and healthy His way. Want to seek His truth versus what the world says? Then let's get into today's show. Before I get into this episode, sisters, I wanted to give a shout out to Rebecca Coffey Thompson. She posted a message on my Facebook page. I do have a Courageous Fit Female Facebook page. She found the Courageous Fit Female podcast and shared it with a challenge group that she's actually running on Facebook. But she was too excited to just keep it in there only, and she had to share it on her regular Facebook feed so all her friends and her followers would be aware of Courageous Fit Female. And what a blessing that was to hear. She said, I shared this morning. She's talking about an episode that I recently did. She said, I shared this morning with the challengers in my current challenge group. It's just too good to keep in there and not let you all have the chance to listen to Courageous Fit Female, Jaclyn Castro. Oh, friends, I found this podcast yesterday, and it's so refreshing to focus on health God's way. We feel the need to compare ourselves to the shapes and sizes of others, and that comparison is what is keeping us trapped in the lies of what is healthy and what is unhealthy. I know I want to change my own focus and fill my mind with truth about health and fitness, not what social media or TV shows portray as healthy. Listen in and tell me what you think. And then she put a link there with my podcast to iTunes. I reached out to Rebecca on her Facebook post and I thanked her for it. I am so grateful to you, Rebecca, for taking the time to share it in 2 places on Facebook. And sisters, this is exactly the kind of proof that God's hand is in this business, that He would use Courageous Fit Female to make women aware that there is a different way to approach fitness, His way versus the world's way. So if you haven't yet written a review on my podcast here on iTunes, I would be so grateful that you would take 2 minutes to do that. Share what you want to hear more of or what you want to hear less of. 3, 2, 1, let's go, ladies. Okay, on with the episode. Small background about myself working out. I've shared it before. Back in 1998, 1999, I started working out in my little bedroom. I actually was really intrigued and fascinated and really interested because of all the magazines that I used to pick up right by the grocery store cashier checkout, right? There are magazines, and I would just be drawn to these fitness models on the cover, right? And so The Lord has helped me to relinquish all of that and to not focus on idolizing my body and how my physique looks. But just to give you a background of how I started working out, I started out in my bedroom. I picked up magazines and I would flip through the pages and read through like how to do these specific moves and try to emulate, perform whatever the pages are showing me to do. And I was pretty proud of owning an extensive DVD library of workout videos. It was really fun to just work out on my own. And I would, even influence my 2 younger sisters and then now my daughter. Eventually, I got my exercise science degree. I worked in a gym. I had my whole experience with years of being in front of, the front of the gym, instructing a class, leading a class, helping people on their fitness journey. So it's been a long time coming, but that's where I started, just by flipping some pages of a magazine. And I realized over the past 23 years that I am one of those people who discovered that I truly enjoy working out solo. And it's only through years of experience and knowledge combined that I'm able to put together a workout that meets my goals and most especially my schedule, which is super important to me. Some of you listening may be doing workouts from home and you have your schedules and your workouts down pat and established, and that works for you. But most of you listening are doing workouts from home, or maybe wanting to start doing workouts, or maybe you're working out, but you're doing it alone in the gym, but you're not being led by a good instructor, and you're more than likely Googling your workouts. You're doing a DIY fitness plan, right? And it could even be that you're just making it up as you go during an actual workout session. I've done all of that. Like I actually got to the gym or started my workout and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to make it up. Okay, squats, push-ups, air jumps, jumping jacks, burpees, and I just would make it up as I go. And that's what I call a DIY fitness. That's actually what is counted as a DIY fitness. And so in this episode, I'm going to share with you from my experiences and my point of view, the advantages, the benefits, and the drawbacks of a DIY fitness plan so that you can make your own decision if you are doing a DIY fitness plan, if it is working, and if it's not working, what can you do? What are some ideas and options that you can do if it's not working? And I'm going to share it with you in that order: advantages, benefits, and drawbacks. So the first thing is advantages. For those of you starting out, considered a freshman, right, when it comes to fitness, we all start somewhere, right? Or if there's a large gap between the last time you went to a gym or maybe participated in anything physical, DIY, do-it-yourself fitness might not be a bad idea. Why is the question? Why would that be an advantage? Well, because this is really a good way to get the feel for things. No one wants to feel uncomfortable, right? We're not raising our hands when it's like, oh, who wants to feel uncomfortable? Put myself in a gym in the place that I feel like it's so awkward and it's just new. So typically someone that is doing a DIY fitness plan is doing it in their home, in the confines and the comfort of their home. And so the advantage is that it's better to start out this way, doing a DIY fitness plan, than to commit to a 1-year contract for a gym membership, for example, and waste your money because you feel discouraged or out of place, or in some cases, you don't even feel welcome and ultimately not quote unquote good enough. Because when you do it yourself, when you do things your way and you do it yourself instead of someone else leading you, you are more comfortable. Another advantage of DIY fitness is that you can carve out time to get familiar with basic exercise moves. In other words, knowing how to do moves properly, also known as proper form. You have the convenience and the time to observe your form in the mirror. For example, let's take a squat. You can practice proper form of a squat without feeling silly, looking at yourself in the mirror, maybe following a class instead, right? Because classes are not DIY fitness. Classes are someone leading you. But during a class, you're not going to be able to really take the time to look at yourself in the mirror per se. Granted, yes, you can, but especially if you're just starting out and you're a freshman to fitness, then you're not going to feel comfortable looking at yourself. But when you do it at home or you do it alone at the gym, you're actually more quote unquote comfortable and you won't really necessarily feel awkward or silly to practice that proper form. But these are real cases where women feel ridiculous and even dumb performing a move in front of people watching. And what happens is, of course, we're talking about the gym, right? And so what happens is they compromise themselves and end up getting injured. Proverbs 21:5 says that the plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. And so I bring this verse up because when we do take the time to practice our proper form, that means that we're doing our diligence, that we're actually taking the time. We're not just making hasty decisions and jumping into things. It's really important. It's crucial. It is essential to get your form down. Carving out time to get familiar with an exercise move is definitely an advantage. It's a suggested and safe practice to do, and for good reason, which many people just don't take the time to do so. Again, if you are a freshman or a beginner, it's so important to do this. And even for those of you who are listening to this that do go to a gym, going to a fitness class, being led by an instructor, or maybe even you have a personal trainer. Not all instructors, not all fitness instructors, not all personal trainers, sadly, emphasize the importance of proper form. But if you know that it's important, you're going to be more aware of it now, right? And it starts with awareness, truly. I totally get it. It's like, feels like it's not worth the time to practice proper form. It's like, this feels so weird, right? How to do this squat? It's just weird. But implementing the fundamentals are what will help you with decreasing the risk of getting hurt. And nobody wants to get hurt. So that's why this is super crucial. It's such a great advantage when you do a DIY fitness plan, in the sense that you have the convenience of doing things at your own time and you're just more aware of doing it and being able to have that level and space and mindset of, I can do this and no one's watching. And as a result, practicing the proper form will decrease your risk of getting hurt. So for sure, it's an advantage. Of course, another advantage is that if you're doing it at home, you're definitely going to do your workout at your own convenience and you're able to be comfortable instead of feeling awkward at a gym in a new environment. But if you're at a gym, you're not having to keep up with the rest of the class. So you can go to a gym and not follow a class, and you can still do a DIY fitness plan in the regular weight room or whatever room you're going to use. You're just not being led by an instructor, right? The advantage of that is that there's no one to measure yourself up to, which can really be an advantage because instead of trying to do what someone else is doing, you're more likely to follow your own limits, your own personal and individual physical limitations. And as a result, again, you decrease your chances of injury. Another advantage is that when you're in your own space, you eliminate any fear of judgment or any criticism. And that's for sure a bonus in my book that I know as well for you, you can totally appreciate, because nobody likes to feel judged or be in a space of being fearful of being criticized, right? Another advantage is that you will not be trapped into comparison. Comparison is really a big one here for obvious reasons that I've spoken about so many times. I even have 1 or 2 episodes about comparison. I'll link it down below as well. And the last advantage that I have for you is that pride is going to be less in your way. What I mean by pride is that this is really being around others who unashamedly puff themselves up. Depending on their fitness level and their personality, not being around those kinds of people is like putting a hedge of protection for your heart and your mind, and it really decreases the likelihood of lusting or idolizing someone else's progress. So another way to look at it is that doing or having a DIY fitness plan, more than likely you're going to do it alone at a gym or alone at home. And with that, pride is less in the way of you just taking care of your body physically for God, which of course is going to help protect your heart. It's going to help protect your mind. And for sure, your emotional health matters in this as well. For benefits, here we go. House clothes. You can use your own house clothes. Again, I know it seems as if I'm really more talking about those of us working out at home. Because honestly, in a DIY fitness plan, it's really those of us who they don't want to be in front of others and they just want to do things in the privacy and the comfort of their own home. So yeah, when you work out at home, you can have your own house clothes on and just get to your workout session. There's no need to spend for, an entire workout attire, which can get extremely pricey. However, There is something about a good pair of tights that energizes you, and it really gets you more excited to actually put in the work. So side note, ladies, do not downplay investing in a good pair of workout tops and bottoms, okay? Including a good fitting sports bra and a really well-fitting pair of shoes. And yes, all the way down to the socks. All of that matters. But when you're working out at home, you don't necessarily have to buy an entire wardrobe, an entire attire of workout clothes. So that's one benefit that I have for you. And the other one is that it's very beneficial to do a DIY fitness plan, working out solo at the gym or working out at home, because you go at your own pace. You're not in a class setting. You're not having someone lead you and, you're trying to keep up with everyone, and then you're looking at other people and you're like, oh, she's going faster and then I'm slow, and then a bunch of emotions and your mentality, your mindset just gets small, and then you feel bad for yourself because you feel like you're just so far behind from what the class is doing. For example, I was at a fitness class, and one of the last things that we had to do, actually the final thing that we had to do for the class, we did a bunch of stuff, and at the very end there was a finisher where we had to get onto the assault bike. I remember it was my very first time on that bike, and every single person finished before me. And I will tell you, first of all, praise God that I wasn't trying to one up myself or one up other people and, try to go as fast as I could and try to prove to others that I can make it. I mean, I was actually the last one. That requires a lot of humility, right? And so I was absolutely going at my own pace. I promise you, if I wasn't going at my own pace as far as my limits, if I wasn't respecting my own limits, I would have went really fast, burnt out, felt like throwing up. There are lots of people that don't go at their own pace, even if they're in a fitness class. And why? It's mostly because of a pride issue, right? We don't want other people to think that we're weak. But a benefit of a DIY fitness plan is you truly do get to go at your own pace without any judgment, without anyone critiquing you or being a drill sergeant in your face. I don't know, maybe some of you like that. And especially if you are starting out, you do want to go at your own pace. One of the benefits of going at your own pace is that you're not going to be extremely sore the next day and feel so discouraged and feel like giving up. And then you're going to wait January 1st to start again because you're discouraged. So going at your own pace is absolutely a benefit to having and implementing a DIY fitness plan. Okay, the drawbacks. The drawbacks. First drawback that I have for you is that there is no pressure. There's no pressure when you have a DIY fitness plan. There is no guidance. That is a no-no. That is scary because you're prone to injury. Like the likelihood of you getting injured is higher. You are very comfortable. You have no one to challenge your limits around you. You have no accountability. You have no community, whether it's physically at the gym because you're not in a group setting, or if you're doing online fitness, then you could possibly, be in an online community, but you have no community when you're doing a DIY fitness plan because you're solo. I remember a client of mine who needed a group setting, and she wasn't driven to do the workouts that I created for her, not because she didn't want to or because she was lazy, but it's what was important to her as an individual. Everyone is different, and she needed community. She needed to be in a group setting. It's what helped her to be excited and to get going and to have accountability and all the rest. But let me back up to the top. Having no pressure is a big deal because when we don't have any pressure, some of us don't like pressure, but pressure is actually can be a good thing because it helps us to do more than we thought we can do, right? It challenges us. When you're doing a DIY fitness plan, you have no guidance, meaning to say that no one is guiding you. No one is showing you how to do a proper form. You have no one to guide you if you need help with modifying a move. Maybe if you are recovering from an injury or maybe if you're ready to step it up and to increase the intensity, you don't have anyone to guide you to help you in that area. An obvious one, right? You can be too comfortable. And then again, the next bullet, no one to challenge your limits. That also ties in with accountability. When you have someone with you, they're there to cheer you on. They help you to take the next step, even if you don't want to. The next one I mentioned was no community. Another drawback is increased risk of injury. I just visited my physical therapist yesterday. It was actually my last and my final session. I had 20 sessions altogether, and yay, praise God. My shoulder has been so much better. So I visited her my last session yesterday, and we were having this conversation, and the conversation led her to share with me that a lot of kids come and see her due to injury because of no one teaching them fundamentals from sports. It's not emphasized that they learn the fundamentals of a proper squat or whatnot. Maybe their neck and their back alignment is wrong and no one's emphasizing, no one is teaching them that. So it's the same thing if you're doing a DIY fitness plan, the likelihood of you getting injured is increased. The last one here I have for you, the disadvantage of a DIY fitness plan, specifically now for home workouts, for people who do workouts in their home, boundaries, okay? Boundaries are a real challenge to set when you're working out in the home. When you have this DIY fitness plan, working out in the home is a challenge. It could be a challenge. Boundaries are not a sign of not wanting to serve others, okay? Let's just get that straight. We need to remember that boundaries are created by God. When I say boundaries, I mean that let's say you're working out at home and then you have kids and your kids are telling you that you're hungry or they need your help. It's going to be really hard for you to get your workout in. So we need to create boundaries. We need to have boundaries in place. And again, that's why I'm saying boundaries are not a sign of not wanting to serve someone. Of course, we're going to want to serve our kids, but there's a time for everything. And right now, or the time rather, that you're working out, we need to have a boundary so that we can take that time to get our exercise in, to get our physical activity in. Again, we need to remember that boundaries are created by God. And there are distractions galore for some households where they have kids and larger families, pets, phone calls, whatever. When it comes to boundaries, use the right way, sisters. They are good and also honoring to the Lord. I mean, we see it all over the Bible. Genesis 2:16 through 17, Mark 2:27, Romans 8:11 through 12. And Solomon, who wrote the book of Ecclesiastes, we know that there is a time for everything. Whatever your reason for doing a DIY fitness plan, I hope that this really helped you to make a decision and speak to you somehow. Maybe you realize that you do need to be in a community for you to have more drive and excitement to get up and work out. God created us to thrive in a safe community. And with that said, be mindful of who you are surrounded by. If you do decide to go to a gym, it's crucial to pay attention to your surroundings so that you're aware of how you could be stumbled in your walk with Jesus. Maybe observe the way people are dressed or not dressed. Observe how this may make you feel uncomfortable or even really feel bad about yourself, ultimately keeping you stuck in a comparison trap and you're being led away from God because you're so focused on being self-centered. And ladies, I've been there and it doesn't feel good. So these are just bonus things to really make you think about, should I do a DIY fitness plan? Should I work out at home? Should I work out at the gym? Should I do it solo? Should I be in a class setting? Is being in a gym setting going to stumble me? Maybe some of you are highly influenced by a YouTuber or subscribed to someone who you just enjoy for whatever reason, and you would rather purchase your workouts that are already made up for you. Those are great. Those are super convenient. But be on the lookout for the ones that provide tutorials of how to do it properly and safely so that you will decrease the chances of injury. I know I keep talking about injury because it's that important, okay? I've seen it over and over and over again. And even in places that have good instructors, they still leave injured over time because they're not implementing exactly what the really good instructor is teaching them about how to execute a squat or a plank properly. And then over time, they just get injured. Or you can be like me, my rotator cuff. This is a chronic injury that happened because of a habit of the way I place my hands on a plank or whatever it is, right? And so we just need to practice, implement, and do our diligence. Sometimes injury is just inevitable, but it's really important that we do our diligence to practice and to do things that are going to help us to decrease, not increase, the chances of injury. You and I both need to think about our values, such as modesty or safety, as well as community or quiet time, right? Everyone has different values. For me, I personally enjoy working out by myself because I get to listen to podcasts and sermons and my own playlist that I created on Spotify. Because at the gym, oftentimes there's music that makes me want to just hurry out of there because there's cussing and songs encouraging promiscuity and adultery and all the rest. So pay attention to your values and what's important to you when it comes to staying close and drawing nearer to the Lord in your health and fitness journey. There's so much more I can touch on, sisters, here, but this was hopefully enough to get your mind attentive to making a decision to either keep doing your DIY fitness plan or decide if, in fact, you do need accountability and community like my one client needed, and that's okay. With that said, wink, wink, coaching with me as your spiritual fitness coach, I can help you to decide what to do and how to approach what is ideal and practical for the season you're in and your fitness level and experience, and help you get started. Let's see what's holding you back from taking action today. And together, we will work on a game plan to get you going. And of course, we will do all of this with a faith-based approach, keeping Jesus at the center. I'm open to taking one single client for the next 12 weeks. My email is below. If you want to work on any food idolatry, food struggles, maybe you're wrestling with your body image and you just don't know what to do. Maybe you've experienced, like me, going shopping and trying clothes on and you just hate the way your body looks. I've experienced all of that, okay? I understand how that feels. And so with the guidance of the Holy Spirit, I got you. Let's work together. I have a boundary limit to work with one client at a time so that I can give you the attention required. It's now the month of June as I record this, and I have room for one. Email me today to get started on this new season. Let's keep pursuing Jesus, sisters, and His Word with everything we do, including our health and fitness. Keep walking with Him on your health and fitness journey, and I'll be here next week for a new episode. Until then, for Jesus' honor and glory, stay courageous, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally fit.